Planning Emily here. Thank you so much for your video last week. It was so sweet. I think all of us could use a little bit of puppy love. Now, here's a vibe shift. Hey Olivia, it's Wednesday. So a few weeks ago, I flew out to Los Angeles for a short trip to see Hozier in concert. It was the first time I had been back since I lived in LA for 3 months my junior year of college, and I spent a long time on the trip thinking about just how different I am from the person I was back then. Most of my 3 months in LA were spent dealing with a debilitating crush on someone who I was very close to at the time, but who is no longer in my life, honestly, for the better. And that colored so much of how I experienced that time. For instance, I only really started listening to Hozier in the first place because he was one of their favorite artists. I remember listening to Jackie and Wilson on walks to my internship and feeling such a connection to the city. So Hozier and LA have always had a really strong connection with me since I first listened to a lot of his music while exploring the city. And at the time, I could really see a life for myself in LA, and I really wanted to move back there after graduation. I loved a lot of things about LA. I loved the weather, I loved the scenery with the hills and the lights in the city at night, I loved the comedy scene, I loved being so close to the film industry, and I loved the feeling of there being so much to do that you could never really run out of new experiences. Obviously, I am not living in LA now, and I'm honestly glad I'm not. A lot changed in my life between when I left LA in May 2022 and when I graduated in May 2023. And there's a lot of downsides to living in LA. It's far from my family on the East Coast, the traffic is awful, and it's so expensive that it personally just doesn't justify moving there for the field I'm pursuing a career in. I love the city I live in right now. One that's fun but not overwhelming and more affordable, and home to someone I have a debilitating crush on that's actually mutual. But something about coming back to LA that weekend felt right. All the things I loved about LA were still there waiting for me, even though it was a different me returning to them. There was a really magical moment during the Hozier concert during the song Would That I, where the whole crowd sang the background vocals seemingly without cue. Everyone there, whether they were LA locals or transplants or visitors like me, got to join in and create magic together. And now, instead of conjuring a time where I was naive and caused a lot of heartbreak for myself, Hozier in Los Angeles instead remind me of this moment of joy and connection. And, of course, losing my shit during Jackie and Wilson. Olivia, I'll see you on Wednesday.